Hello and welcome to the questions that are exactly like the ones we have in our workbook. If you open your workbook to Chapter 4, Exercise 4-1, you'll see that the question 1 and everything that follows it is exactly like you see in a book. What we hope to do with these videos is to break down every question step by step, showing you all the work you need to show to get full marks on your assignments and on your tests, and so you understand exactly what needs to be done. So hopefully this will be of great benefit to you. Let's begin with the first question. Change the following ingredients to their decimal equivalent and round off to 2 decimal places where necessary. So we're going to be taking what looks like the amounts you need in a menu, ingredients, recipe amounts, and we're going to change them into their decimal equivalents. So let's start off with 3 pounds and 8 ounces. We want that exact same amount of weight, but we want it in decimal equivalents in pounds. So the easy part to all of these, of course, if there's 3 whole pounds and 8 ounces in the ingredient amount, there's going to be 3 decimal something pounds in the decimal amount. There will always be a 3 whole pounds. So that's the first part, and it's easy to begin with that. Now we have to deal with the 8 ounces, and we need to remember our relationships between ounces and pounds, and that is that there are 16 ounces for every pound. So if we have 8 ounces, we are going to divide 8 into the amount of ounces in a pound, which is 8 divided by 16, and that gives us decimal 5. And decimal 5, as you may remember, is the equivalent to 1/2, and 8 ounces is half of 16, so it makes sense that it is indeed half a pound. So we combine the two together, and we see that 3 pounds and 8 ounces is equal to 3 decimal 5 pounds. Same amount of stuff, just expressed in 2 different ways. Our next one, 12 pounds and 12 ounces. Again, the no-brainer. If I have 12 whole pounds in the ingredient amount, I'm going to have 12 whole pounds in the decimal amount. I need to concern myself with the 12 ounces. And again, 12 divided by 16, the amount of ounces in 1 pound, give us decimal 75. When you combine the two, you end up with 12 decimal 75 pounds. Again, absolutely equal in amount to 12 pounds, 12 ounces. Our next example, 7 pounds and 1 ounce. Again, the no-brainer part, 7 whole pounds. We will do 1 divided by 16, the amount of ounces in a pound. We get decimal 0.0625. That combines for 7 decimal 0.0625 pounds. And we think we're done, but then we remember that our instruction says we have to round off to 2 decimal places. And that's what we do. And remember, to round off, we count to there's the first decimal place, there's the second decimal place. The number following that is a 2, not big enough to change the 6. We get rid of the decimal 25, and then we can see that we end up with 7 decimal 06 as our rounded answer. Moving on to our next question, 2 kilograms and 330 grams. Just because it's metric doesn't mean anything changes. If I have 2 whole kilograms in the ingredient amount, I'm still going to have 2 whole kilograms in decimal account, so the no-brainer part still applies. 2 decimal something kilograms. Now I need to deal with the 330 grams. This is why the metric system is so much easier. This is the relationship, 330 grams out of 1,000 grams. So of course we divide the two. We end up with decimal 330. We put that together, and as we round it off to 2 decimal places, we simply just drop the 0. We end up with 2 decimal 33 kilograms. Then we just add the next 2 because it's relatively easy, 15 kilograms and 500 grams. Again, the 15 no-brainer part. 500 divided by 1,000 is 1/2, or decimal 5. We end up with 15 decimal 5 kilograms. 2 kilograms and 98 grams. Again, 2 decimal 98 divided by 1,000, and 98 divided by 1,000 is decimal 0.98. And when we round that off to the nearest decimal place, we end up with a final answer of 2 decimal 1 kilogram. Moving on to our next question, 5 U.S. quarts and 24 ounces. Looking to put that into the decimal equivalent into U.S. quarts. Again, you're right, 5 decimal something. What's the relationship between ounces and U.S. quarts? Those of you who said 32 are correct. 54 of the ounces that we have now divided by the 32 ounces in a U.S. quart gives us decimal 75. That's 3/4 for those of you playing along. And when we combine those two, we get a final answer of 2 decimal 75 U.S. quarts.
1 gallon and 5 pints, and we want to convert that into its decimal equivalent in gallons. Again, no difference. We always use the same formula. If I have a full gallon in the ingredient amount, I'm going to have a full gallon in the decimal equivalent. So I start off with 1 decimal, and then I need to get the relationship between pints and gallons, which is 8. Those of you who said 8, good on you. We have 5 pints. We divide it by the 8 pints in a gallon. We get decimal 625. Combining that, we get 1 decimal 625. We need to round that off to 2 decimal places. Decimal 625 rounds off to decimal 63 for a final answer of 1 decimal 63 gallons. Next up, 3 U.S. gallons and 100 ounces. Again, our no-brainer, 3 whole U.S. gallons. 100 divided by 128, the amount of ounces in a U.S. gallon. That gives us decimal 7812. And when we round that off to 2 decimal places, we get a final answer of 3 decimal 78 U.S. gallons. 4 gallons and 3 quarts. Again, we have 4 whole gallons. We're going to divide the 3 quarts we have by the amount of quarts in a gallon, and that is 4. 3 over 4, it looks an awful lot like 3/4, and hopefully by now we're starting to recognize that's decimal 75, and that gives us our final answer of 4 decimal 75 gallons.